No. It's a hurt duck on TV, right?
Yes.
So, yes. All right. So I'm going to give a couple of these. See these? Everyone that, as we move forward, if anyone signs up for a policy, you actually get one. So, because Rebecca's like, does everybody get a duck? I'm like, no, we have nothing to do with major medical or benefits. We stand alone. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So I'll just ask a question and see who, because you guys should all know this. You're in the healthcare industry. So does anyone know what the #1 killer is in America? There's your duck. Asking for a duck. Awesome. Okay, does anyone know what #2 is? #1 is heart disease. Come on now.
Twice.
Oh, yay!
Not yay for cancer.
Not
just
yet.
so that she knows that it's cancer.
So we're gonna, and then this one will be given away. Edward's gonna go through this little thing about accident policy, but like she was asking about benefits and stuff. Aflac is different. So major medical. If you have major medical and you get in a car accident or you have a disease and you have to go to the doctor or the hospital, your health insurance pays the doctor and the hospital, right? Okay. But if you're out for a week and you miss a week of work, are they going to pay you for missing your week of work? You think Brandon's going to pay you? No offense. No offense, Brandon. But that's where Aflac comes in, is that we pay you guys. So if you get hurt, sick, injured, disease, something like that, you start with money in your pocket. Okay? Because we pay our claims on average in 4 days. So you're not waiting 3 or 4 months to get your money. So you have a claim, send it in, fax it in, 4 days later you have a check in your pocket. So if you're missing 2 weeks of work, you're getting a couple $100,000 in your pocket to help you with.
It's kind of like working comp.
It's not.
Not.
Trying it, but it works like that.
It doesn't. Let me just tell you why. What we've done. Does everybody have this accident policy? Open it up, because we're going to show you.
Do y'all have one?
90+% of people do not know what Aflac is. It's really this simple. What we've done is whether it's an injury or an illness, we know what people go through recovery. So if you look at this accident policy, open this one up, all 4 pages, and I'll tell you why. Because if you understand how this policy works, you're going to know how all our policies work. And then what happens is, we're not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody has a different family structure in here. I could be married, I could be single, I could be a single parent, and then I could be married with children, right? The other thing is we also have our different health backgrounds. You said the #1 cause of, the #1 killer in our country is heart disease. #2 is cancer, #3 is stroke, and then #4 is major accidents. Unless you're under age 42, it's #1. Okay, so we're in different times in our lives. So what happens is, when you look at these plans, I want you to think about 2 things. You're going to pick them up based on 2 scenarios. One is your family structure and kind of your health background. And then what Ginger will do is, if you're interested in Aflac, we're going to consult you based on those things and also based on our experience with other people that are in your same situation. Okay? So here's what I want to find out. Who gets picked on the most here? Somebody volunteer somebody. How's that? Y'all are quiet.
Who wants to be put on the spot to win a duck?
I'm going to just pick someone.
There you go. Front and center.
What's your name?
Naveen.
Naveen? Naveen. Okay, Naveen. Naveen's going to help me out. Naveen's going to help me out. So here's what I want you to do. There's only 2 reasons I go to a doctor. I'm either hurt or I'm sick, right? Those are the 2 reasons. Okay, both of those are going to trigger money for me, coming directly to me. So we don't pay doctors, we don't pay hospitals. Aflac says that when I get hurt or sick, there's a financial part of recovering, right? Not just the physical. So think about every insurance that you currently have. If something happened to you, which one of those insurances are going to generate money for you to be able to pay for all those insurances you currently have? That's kind of a mind twister there, right? It generates money for everyone else. But what happens when something happens to us, it's major especially, we're worried about how do we keep our house, how do we keep our car, how do we put food on our table. I don't know anybody that's ever had cancer that has basically said, how am I going to pay all these doctor bills? They're trying to figure out, hey, how do I sustain my family financially, right? That's why people pull together for money and things like that. So here's what's going to happen. Naveen, just all you need to do is addition. Just add. Okay? So no pressure. You'll be all right. This is a low pressure.
This is actually a real claim, you guys, that happened, okay? One of our policy holders, and this is how we pay. This is how Aflac pays. So we're just going to take you through it so you can see.
Okay. So here's a scenario. We have a young lady that was in a car accident. She was there in the hospital 3 days. How does Aflac help her out? Now, one of the things that I'm going to tell you is this policy is not based on missing work. and it's not based on your income, you're not limited by that. Which means I can cover my child, I can cover a spouse, right? So what happens is if you open up this policy, you'll see that we have this column in orange. All those are things that I would go through if I was in an accident through recovery. So for example, we said I'm either hurt or sick when I go to a doctor. Listen to this. Look at the first benefit, the second benefit on this first page. It says accident emergency treatment. If me or my children or my spouse, if any of us go see a doctor within 3 days of any accident, twisted ankle, we start with $120 in our pocket. Well, that's good, because what if I went to the ER and my copay was $100 or $150? I'm starting with $120 from Aflac, and you'll have that within 3 to 4 business days. Okay? So here's an example. If I took an ambulance on page 3, the top one from the third one from the top, it says Aflac would give me $200 for taking the ambulance. Okay? Or $1,500 if I was care flighted. Here's the concept. We don't care about your ambulance bill. All we're saying is that, you know what, this could have been somebody whose son or daughter had to take the ambulance and I had to clock out at 2 instead of like 5 o'clock, and I'm short 3 hours of wages, right? And that $200 might be the difference in me making my bills that month or not. So the money goes to Edward Rainey. It does not go to a doctor. There's no coordination of benefits. We don't pay hospitals or doctors at all. Okay, so here's the example. So we're going to add it up. You ready, Naveen? Young lady takes an ambulance. She's in a car accident to the hospital. So we're going to give her that $200 on that third benefit from the top on page 3. So she starts with $200. Okay, so all these they're going to add. They're going to accumulate, basically. Then she went to the ER. So I know that if I go see a doctor within 3 days, I'm going to get $120. Well, she didn't have a choice. She went right to the ER. So now she's at what, $320? Right? Okay. Below this, on the second benefit on page 2, it says major diagnostic exam. So they did an MRI on her leg, and she broke her femur in 2 places. So for the MRI, we're going to give her another $200. Okay? Now look at that benefit right above it, the first benefit on page 2. It says for the injury alone, we're going to give you $35 up to $12,500. Okay? Well, here's what we know. We know that one break happens to be $625. We know the 2 breaks are $1,250. So, Naveen, we're going to add $1,250 to that. Can you guys tell me what your deductibles are, Brandon?
$1,000 and $1,500.
Okay. We never worry about a deductible. A fear of a deductible is just a fear of a cash flow, right? But if I have cash coming in, am I really worried about that deductible? No. This is where people are like, this sounds too good to be true. We have the highest rating of any insurance company in the world for paying claims. So when we come and talk to you about these plans, we don't have to worry about is Aflac going to deliver. And we never drop our policyholders, and we don't raise your premiums ever. Doesn't matter how many accidents you have. So let's continue on. She's in the hospital for 3 days, right? So the second benefit on page 1 from the bottom, the third one, it says initial accident hospitalization. She gets $1,000 as long as she's admitted into a hospital bed for at least 18 hours or longer. So now she's got $1,000 more, right? And then look right below that benefit. It says for each day she's going to get $250 per day, up to 365 days a year. So she had 3 more days, so we're going to give her another $750. Okay? On the bottom of page 2, it says appliance benefit. Well, she didn't walk out of there, right? So she actually went out in a wheelchair. That could be for crutches, a back brace. So she got another $125 for her wheelchair. And then above that is physical therapy, right? It says $35 per physical therapy visit. You get up to 10 per accident. She used 6 of those. So she got another $210. And then on the middle of page 1, it says accident follow-up treatment. So those are follow-up doctor visits. You get $35 per, you get up to 6 per accident. She used 3 of those for $105. Naveen, what's her total?
$3,961.
You got it.
Okay, let me tell you something. That accident, this plan alone, this plan costs an employee here at your company, it's around $5 a week. That accident right there paid for her plan probably for the next 8 to 10 years. This is called our loss leader. Okay, so we know that we're losing money when you sign up for this plan. And then look at the very top of page 1. We're going to give you $60 for a wellness check at the end of the first 12 months. Okay? So after the first 12 months, if you go get an eye exam, a dental exam, a pap smear, a mammogram, we're going to give you $60, and that represents nearly, I guess, 3 months worth of premium. Okay, so if you have a spouse on there, it's just a little bit more, children a little bit more than full family. Put it this way, I think it probably would cost you around $35 or so a month for this plan for a family. If you came to our office and picked it up direct, it's $95.01. That's the benefit of getting Brandon allowing the employees here to have access to an accident plan with Aflac.
You guys actually will pay less than I do, which is not right. But,
Oh, you pay a lot less than we do as
we
agents.
don't get a group rate like you guys do. So this one, are you done with that? So that's okay. Most people like that a lot of the people that I cater to are people that don't have insurance, because at least they know if something happens, they have money coming in. So it doesn't matter if you have insurance or not. That doesn't vary anything. So like you said, if you're hurt or sick are the two reasons that you usually go to the doctor, right? So the accident one helps you out when you're hurt. Okay, this is our hospital sickness one, and this helps you out when you're sick. If you'll open the page, and you'll see here, this one's awesome because look down here at the very bottom, physician visit. Just for going to a doctor, we're going to give you $25. Okay? And you get six a year for a family. So it's $150 you know you're going to come back. I have 3 kids, and we go to the doctor every month. Right? So you know at least you're going to get $150 back on this policy. Okay? And the same thing with the accident plan. A day in the hospital, you're going to get $1,000 right here. So you'll get, it might take 500, but you guys get the $1,000 option. We have different options we can offer people. So if it says 500, it's actually over 1,000 for you guys. Okay. So it's just like that accident one. So you get $1,000 your first day in the hospital, and then you get $100 a day down here in the hospital, $100 a day in intensive care, and you can see anything that's going to happen to you. You go to the ER. Let's say you middle of the night, you got food poisoning. They give you an IV and send you home 2 hours later. You get $100. Okay, just for going into the ER. All right, and then you can see here MRI, ambulance, surgical, invasive diagnostic, like colonoscopies, that sort of thing. So anything that's going to happen to you, if you have these 2 plans, this is what we call, these are like the everyday. If you have these 2 plans, hurt, sick, no matter what, if you go to the doctor, you get money. So it's kind of nice. Like every time I go to the doctor, I file a claim. A claim takes you about 2 minutes to fill out, fax it in, or do it online, and you get money 4 days later.
The other thing I'll say about that plan, the $60 you get for the wellness benefit on the accident policy, and those 6 doctor visits that you get on the sickness policy, that $210 pretty much buys your accident plan. So with these 2 plans, we know that any reason for me going to the doctor or going to the hospital, I'm either injured or sick, I know that I've got cash coming my way. And that's a big relief. So think about it. When something happens to somebody, they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta meet my deductible first. Well, with Aflac, you know you're starting with money, okay, in your pocket to kind of ease that, financial concern. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question on either one of those plans? Also, for having a baby, let's say that my wife and I were going to have a baby. We're not. We're done. We had 3. Having a baby is defined under Aflac. It falls under illness confinement. And everybody's like, well, wait a minute. That should be an accident, right? No. It falls under illness confinement. So if we were going to have a baby, we know we're going to get anywhere between $1,500 up to $3,000 on that hospital plan alone, because the $1,000 first day, the $300 for each day. There's a surgical benefit in there for natural delivery.